beautiful day to you all. We're coming to you live from our SlyMedia studios in the capital of Zimbabwe. We are here on The Set, a show that comes to you every Thursday at 9 a.m., bringing celebrities where they share their inspirational stories and their journeys so we get to know them a little bit better. Joining me today is KaeChaps, well known as KaeChaps. We'll definitely be getting into that. So my name is Wadzanai, and we're going to take a break.
With 2023 beckoning and the election frenzy in the country becoming more stronger each day, politicians are increasingly becoming visible, making more and more promises.
Primary education from grade 1 to grade 7 must be provided completely free.
Every village, in 3 years, there will be a ball in Orana solar.
Patinongopinda tunhu chokutanga kukudzororai pamakasiyiwa navamugabe. Toda kudzorera maticha kwavaiva kwokuti ticha aizikanwa semunhu aitenga zikoti zheadmaster nenyaya yokuti anga ane udzamu negiginisi.
But are these promises going to be fulfilled? The electorate is pondering on who to vote for in the council, parliamentary, and even presidential election. We bring you the candidate, where we interrogate their plans, their manifestos, their programs, to make sure that we give you information to make a choice on who to vote for. The candidate on SlyMedia TV every Wednesday from 6 p.m.
Welcome back. My name is Wadzanai, and as stated before, I am joined by KaeChaps, who's here in the studio. Welcome, KaeChaps.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we are. It's a pleasure. It's really a pleasure. So I think I'll start off with your journey into the music industry. Can you just give us a little brief understanding of how your journey started?
Okay, so KaeChaps is, you already know, it stands for KaeChaps, so that's my original name. And I grew up in Rugare, right here in Harare. Ndichikura, I think, probably from grade 1 to mostly, I think, Form 3. Like any other normal kid, I wanted to have, you know, a profession, decent. I won't say, I don't think decent is the right word.
Yeah.
But just, you know, those my formal items, yeah, that's what I wanted. So I wanted to be a doctor, and then at some point I wanted to be a lawyer. But then I always loved music.
Okay.
So music was just there, but I never saw it as something that I could pursue professionally. So I was doing what I was doing, and my mom was there backing me up because I also used to play soccer. So she used to say, you can do all these things, but I want you to prioritize your school. So that was me growing up. And then when I finally made the decision to get into the studio, I was doing my upper 6. So upper 6, ndapinda mu class etwa arts. So eventually it made me want to, you know, experiment more. And then me getting into the studio for the first time was just a way of trying to show my classmates that I can also sing, since almost most of them almost all of them were doing music. Mm-hmm. So now we've been on both, and I fell in love. I got in there, I did my very first record, it was amazing. And since then, that's when I knew, okay, as much as I wanted to do school and then music on the side, now it was more music and then maybe school. And then eventually it just became music. Yeah.
All right. And you were saying, Kuti, you wanted your schoolmates to know, Kuti, you can sing. That's when you fell in love. Mm-hmm. Which song did you record first that actually gave you that realization?
It's called Type Yangu. That's a very dark song. Okay. I don't even know it. I don't even have the song. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't even know who has it, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who has
It
it.
doesn't go pop up someday.
Maybe. But then, yeah, that was the very first song I did.
Oh, okay. And then we got to know more about you during COVID times. Social media propelled that journey for you. I think Juicy ndo rakanyanyita kuti ube within the spotlight. After that hype, when people then got to know you, who was the first to reach out to you? Probably to work with you and just explore you as an artist.
When Juicy came out, I remember, because when Juicy came out, it wasn't even like more than 2 days like before. Almost everyone was on my case. Like everyone wanted to know, who is this guy? Where is he coming from? You know, it got viral at that very moment. And there were so many people who approached me. I would have like 100 DMs a day. And then some people would want to work with you maybe on a business level as maybe a brand ambassador or whatever. And then other people would come to me trying to get songs, trying to get a feature or something. And even like the big guys would come and say, okay, now I have a project, I have this and this, I think you're very much talented, can we do ABCD? So I wouldn't really know or remember who came first.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were a whole lot of people.
And how did that make you feel?
It was so overwhelming. I remember after Juicy, I spent almost, it was a long time before I released another song. Not because I didn't want to release, but because the pressure just hit me in a way, at some point I couldn't even contain it. So it was that just, as much as I love this, as much as I'm appreciating every moment, it's a lot. So yeah, that was me.
And how did you, because as a young artist, this is something that you're getting into, you're not used to, and then there's this pressure that's there. How did you handle it?
Well, at the end of the day, as much as you are in that space whereby everybody is talking about you and everyone is all about you, I think as a kid who has been working for over 8 years on the dream, I couldn't allow myself to just get overwhelmed and then I feel like I made it and then everything is just that. I was looking at the bigger picture, like where do I want to go? And I think that was one of the reasons why I was able to now contain all that pressure and know, as much as I have this attention, this is not the end goal. We have bigger things. We need a Grammy, we need a BET. So how do we get that BET? We need to work more. We need to try and avoid the noise and concentrate on the actual work.
I get that. And being that I wouldn't say really self-made, because there are people that helped you in that journey. What would you say you had to learn for yourself? Where you got into the industry, no one told you, then later you're like, okay, this is something that young artists don't know, but someone should tell them.
Okay, I learned a lot, especially with how I came up, because in me, most people actually thought this one is Antorna Foundation because they didn't know about my 8 years of doing music without anything happening, and then all of a sudden it seems like an overnight thing. And then there are, like I was saying, there are those big guys who are approaching you, trying to work and stuff. My lesson was number one, there are no friends in the industry. Yeah. Everyone is after something, and people might come to you smiling and whatever, but one way or the other, they are trying to exploit, or they are going to. So that was like that lesson that I learned, and I learned it in a very harsh way. Also, the other thing is, like, never get too comfortable, because there's always another guy behind you. That's when Manato Sara, who is extremely talented, maybe at 4, that kid will be the next topic, and you can't afford to think that you are the only one who makes good music, or you're the only one who is there. Nah. So never get too comfortable, and always know why you started. If you started to just make money, that's you. If you wanted to change the world with your music, like me, or try and heal someone who's going through some stuff, focus on that until whatever or wherever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, those sound like life lessons, not just when in the industry, but even outside, that you can actually apply these lessons within. Okay, and you mentioned you starting your career over having a vision of wanting to change the world. How, apart from music, how else do you want to do that?
Well, I believe in kindness so much, because like changing the world, to be honest, is not, because for example, we are over 7 billion in the entire world. There's no way I'm going to touch each and everyone. But then changing the world for me is me being able to talk to you and being able to make sure with the, if we started talking and you had this burden, at the end of the day you're feeling okay. Or maybe there's somebody out in the street who hasn't eaten the entire day and I have $1 to spare. That's changing the world for me. So that's what I do. Kindness.
You spoke about healing as well. So I'm definitely going to have to ask.
Well, life at some point, life on its own, because we go through so much. I remember, like, for me to just get here and talk to you, like now, I had to go through so much, and I had to heal. Luckily, music has always been there for me to just comfort me whenever I feel low. Because I remember I was even suicidal at some point because things weren't moving the way I wanted them to. So my heartbreak is an addition of things that were already happening. So I can say life on its own.
And then inspiration for your music, would you put it solely on heartbreaks or life challenges?
Okay, I think it seems like it's more heartbreaks, because the heartbreaks are the dominating records by my songs as underwriter. But if you listen to KaeChaps, you understand. Like, if you go deep, you will understand what it's more of life lessons than just a heartbreak. It's life in general.
All right, so we are joined here on the set by KaeChaps. I'm literally just about to say Kudakwash.
It's fine, you are very much allowed.
And he's sharing with us life lessons, not just life lessons, but lessons for those that want to enter into the industry, things to keep in mind and things that can help you progress within the industry. Okay, how has it been? Like, is it different for a person who's been in the mainstream to appreciate artists that are just propelled solely by social media?
I wouldn't really know, because in what I believe in is things change. Okay. So the same way I blew up is not the same way that the next guy is going to blow up. So I should be in a position to embrace or understand with, okay, so this next guy blew up off TikTok. It doesn't mean so they are any less of an artist, but it's social media time now, it's social media season. and social media is bringing out talent. Unlike Udara, whereby for Winky D to blow up, he had to push my CDs, stereo music, was in and stuff. Now, if I do the same thing, I'm likely going to fail. So that doesn't mean so what the other guy did was wrong, or what this guy is doing is wrong. The whole idea is let's just see and embrace talent.
And embrace the change as well, because times are
exactly.
changing.
Yeah.
And who would you say you looked up to, like generally, or still look up to?
It has to be Winky D, because I remember Stira, let's see, Chacha, Negodu, a whole lot of Winky D songs. Don't say what it's over there. So automatically it just catch on. It catches on. And you know, see, I'm a Bob Marley fan, so that.
Yeah.
I really love Bob Marley. I remember at some point playing Bob Marley to a point whereby my mom was asking, where did you get this music? I don't even know where I got the music from. Now I'm going to load this music and I'm going to my Bob Marley, and I loved every record. And I started researching more and more. And I love Chuaniso-ish. I love Chuaniso Marade. I also love Kendrick Lamar. I'm a fan of Drake. I'm a fan of J. Cole. So yeah.
Okay, and I'm seeing that most of the artists that you are mentioning are more of the soulful soul type artists that are conscious about what they say. And would you say that's a part that you also aid into your music?
Yeah, like what I said with this one, the plan is to change the world. The plan is to heal the world. Well, one step at a time, of course. So I have to make sure with what I say, even if it's just like a random record, or what I say should at least try and trigger someone's emotions or feelings or their mindset. You know, so yeah.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. We will be right back. We're joined by KaeChaps, and we'll be getting more into the journey that KaeChaps has had.
With 2023 beckoning and the election frenzy in the country becoming more stronger each day, politicians are increasingly becoming visible, making more and more promises.
Primary education from grade 1 to grade 7 must be provided completely free.
Every village, in 3 years, there will be a ball in Ranane Sola.
patinongopinda chinhu chekutanga kukudzorerai pamakasiyiwa navamugabe. Toda kudzorera maticha kwavaiva kwokuti ticha aizikanwa semunhu aitenga zikoti zihedmaster nenyaya yokuti anga ane udzamu nedignity.
But are these promises going to be fulfilled? The electorate is pondering on who to vote for in the council, parliamentary, and even presidential election. We bring you the candidate, where we interrogate their plans, their manifestos, their programs, to make sure that we give you information to make a choice on who to vote for. The candidate on SlyMedia TV every Wednesday from 6 p.m.
Welcome back. We are on the set and we're joined by KaeChaps KaeChaps, who is sharing with us his journey and just telling us the inspiration that he got in the industry, in the music industry. So, Kuda, please share. You mentioned you struggled with your mental health. You were getting suicidal thoughts. Can you, is there more that you want to talk about on that? Like, what triggered it?
Okay, so in any I was a kid who thought I won't say I was that intelligent, but I was good enough.
Okay.
So I wanted to do school. Like I really wanted to pursue my education, and when I started doing music, it was school and then music. So I wanted to maintain both, but like prioritizing my education. But then I couldn't go to varsity because of financial constraints. So I had to just focus more on the music. And I started focusing on music. I did, and you know, it's so many years of me in the studio recording and pushing the music and hoping, you know what, it's going to pay off. But then you realize it's now like 5 years, it's now 6 years of you just doing the same thing over and over and nothing there to show for it. So that was the very first thing that triggered my mental health issues. And I started feeling like I'm not good enough, you know, like I'm just trying and well, nothing is ever going to change. It's just going to be me old in the studio, or at some point I will probably eventually give up and it's too late. You know, I was thinking a lot. But I remember I kept going, I kept driving. And then I got into a relationship. So after getting into a relationship, I think I got into that relationship for the wrong reasons, because I felt like I just needed someone to be there for me, you know, as in personally I couldn't handle me. So I needed someone to just maybe vent to and someone to make me feel like I am good enough at the end of the day, of which it worked for a while. And then eventually that person started to tell me all sorts of things. Like, oh, mama harsh words, mama yakuti, you know what, yours over the days, guys. So you know, she was like that harsh. And it affected me in a very terrible way, because this was someone I was depending on. Maybe not consciously, but I was very much depending on that person. But whatever she says matters to me, and it pushes or drives me. So when we got to that, we broke up. She was saying, I'm not feeling this, I'm no longer comfortable, you know. She said a lot of terrible things, a lot of bad things. And after that, those I got trigger everything else. Okay, so everything I was thinking about me is actually true. And I got into that state whereby I was just, beyond frustrated. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't, you know, I felt like, you know, that sense of rejection, that feeling of rejection, that was me. And when I went to my free gig, I just go performer. And after, it was a lot to take in. And I remember that was the time and I song, you know, No Man Cares. I actually wrote that song during that process, during that feeling of, you know, I'm suicidal and everything. And I wrote that song as a way of, you know, trying to, I don't know, help myself. Because that song is about a guy who has actually won. But at that point I was still like depressed. So I didn't want, but I wrote that song in a way, you know what? And it started making sense when I eventually won. When I eventually started feeling it, okay, I'm better than this. I'd rather die trying, but just knowing I tried my best. So yeah.
So would you say that's what helped you out, telling yourself that you are going to die trying and just make it out?
I think what helped me was, during that time, and I get a No Man case, was me knowing, you know what, even if this song is not going to help me, maybe it might help someone who's going through the same thing. So I did that song, and whilst I was doing that song, whilst I was actually writing the song, I think it was more of a healing process to me. So okay, maybe things might change, you know. So yeah.
All right. And through that, I'm sure right now, as we're well aware, mental health issues are really on the rise. And a lot of young artists, a lot of other artists actually, are suffering from that same pressure that you were in. When you then got out of that spot, how did you feel looking back at everything you had gone through? Would you say that that also kind of helped you push? Or like, how did you feel about what you had gone through?
Well, the truth is, when it comes to mental issues, most people don't actually walk away from those issues for good. Because we're not going to give out in this situation in life, but at some point you are going to encounter something else different. You're not going to have to trigger that same, that same issue. So you never really, most people never really get out of it permanently, maybe for a certain time. When I walked out of it for the first time, I had that feeling, why did I want to do this in the first place? Like, there's so much to live for. Besides this one, we want to have a better life, we want money, everyone wants that, but there's so much to live for. Because the fact I'm seeing this day, and I pictured life as a video game. My game are not time do not by extent you have to a difficult mode, because I want those challenges. That's what makes it fun. So my challenges in life is what makes life fun. So you trying to battle, you trying to win, you trying to achieve. But no way my head does this. You jumping makes you feel like, okay, life is actually fun. So that's how I've been moving ever since. It's not like it goes permanently. It always comes back at some point. But that feeling you got is when you and it's all about video game. It's all about difficult mode. Go. Move.
And you mentioned amongst the lessons that you learned with getting into the industry, that there are no friends in the industry. Did that also kind of affect you, having to learn that other people are just there to just benefit from you?
I think it's more of trusting yourself more than anyone, and trusting yourself more than anything. Well, what I really mean by friends in the industry is, you can't just have someone who all of a sudden simply because what I'm going to say last week over a certain record. That's a lie. Like, in all honesty, that's a lie. So no matter how I move, I might be there with you. Okay, I appreciate you as my brother, I appreciate you as my sister, I appreciate you as whoever you are. But then at the end of the day, I am more calculative about my distance and about how I allow people to circle. So I don't know if I answered the question, but it's something.
Yes, you did. And you mentioned that brands, let's kind of lighten it up. You mentioned brands came to, like, when you just started, which brands did you then work with?
Okay, I worked with Food World.
I remember that one.
Mambos. I worked with Essential Collections, and I also worked with Allied Insurance. I worked with, what was the other thing? Hey, how much I know.
But there are lots.
Yeah, I worked with Edgar's a bit. Yeah.
And like currently, which brands are you working with?
Currently, I'm working with Population Services Zimbabwe. So So I'm the brand ambassador for Population Services Zimbabwe. And
Yeah, for the benefit of those that do not know what Population Services Zimbabwe is.
Okay, so Population Services Zimbabwe is an organization that focuses on sexual health matters. So that's your how to handle STIs, also menstruation, menstrual health and hygiene, those.
Yes, and how are you playing a part in all that?
So in it, I focus more on the youth, people my age and people like teenagers and, my people around my age. So my part is for me to communicate in a way they understand. Okay, so this is like if I talk to another guy who is my age, or the young boys who are growing up, who are still in school, and educate them about menstrual health and hygiene, I want them to understand because it's coming from me, someone who's like close to their age. So that's my part.
Okay. And what have you found within the community concerning sexual health? What is it that you've learned?
Well, I think most of these items, I learned them. I only realized now, but then it's something that really I've been seeing for the longest time. Like me in school, I remember when it came to periods, if I happened to see a girl at my periods, it would seem weird with what's going on, and most times would laugh about it or make fun of the person or whatever. So this is like me, in a way, trying to change that. Okay, so if there is another guy in primary school, another young boy in primary school who is feeling the same way I used to feel, how can I change that? So that's basically how we move.
Okay. And talking about high school, I remember you saying that you wanted your classmates to also know, Kuti, you can sing. Now that most people now know you can sing, how has that been for you? Like when you're walking around, socializing and meeting with people?
Most of my classmates were shocked. I think when I started releasing music, was in a group reading class. So that's where I used to send most of my music first, group. And then people were shocked, we never saw you like sing Zogdaro back in high school. Because I only started showing up. Showing up. I started showing up right after Form 6.
Okay.
So I started displaced someone, but there was still a group. So that's where I used to send most of my music, and they were listening, and I might say, and most of them like, especially when Juicy came out. This is the same guy we were listening to, or we were learning with. So yeah, now when I move, most of them are used to it. Some people, most of my relatives actually are still shocked. But then, yeah.
And the community, how has it been? Like, isn't there ever been a time where someone just shouts your name somewhere and you're walking in town? How has that been?
Oh, Murugara, it never changes. Murugara, no matter like how often they see me, it's still the same. They act like I'm that person, can I get a photo? And it's still there, So that's I appreciate it actually. Town is even worse. I can't even walk peacefully in town without people saying my name, and I hardly even go into town and to pin this over there. But when I happen to I'm shop, But I'm not talking about this, like this other time, Nanto somewhere buying food, and I was wearing like a mask, a proper, complete mask that covers everything except my eyes. Someone actually came and said, I know you. How? So people actually know, and I always find it interesting.
Yeah,
it's nice, yeah.
I think it's quite interesting having to experience that. With that being said, I think we need to get into our insets so that he gets to hear what people would want to say to him.
My name is Rue. I'm a fan of your music, especially Mawanga. Wow, I like the parts. Yokuti gumbo mumoya nerimwe mupfungwa zvishande zvese ita make sure rudo ibofu avarevi nemasi rako bebi ngaritangera nyatsondiona. Wow man, you're good. Thank you so much, Mr. K, for making us hear this kind of good music. Amana unogona. You put us in moods, like in happy mood, in sad mood. My lyrics are kind of pinda chepo chaipo.
Somebody. KaeChaps unomziwa. Akaimba song yekuti chiyo unofarira iwe.
Zoka utorejuza ngakanga.
Unogona kuimba? Chimboimba padiki tinzi.
Zoka utorejuza kora wakakangana. Ndikaitarisa noshaya rugare. Zoka utorejuza kora wakakangana.
Thank you. Saka zvokuti ukamona KaeChaps unofara.
Nice.
8 years.
8. Let's talk about the first person.
Okay.
That's a talented singer right there.
Definitely.
And I appreciate. Yeah, we are named. I'm not involved. I know if we're gonna mix, gonna collab or something. But yeah, I appreciate the support. I appreciate the energy, and you know, in 8-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah, that says a lot. That's a statement right there. And I appreciate. That's all I can say. Words will not express me enough.
The joy inside.
So, yeah, all I can say is thank you. And attend.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to your family.
Okay.
What is your family like?
Eat around.
It seems everyone who comes to this show always says good to Tagawand.
I was by my distance ningi, by my clothes ningi. Especially now when I work on the. Also, when I interview, when I talk about ningi, one talk about 3 used to 10. How? So yeah, but like immediate from my mother's side, in the my mom and dad. I have a young brother, Tino, and I'm the middle child, and then I have an older sister, Anonzi N.
Okay.
So yeah.
So given Kuti, they would actually, your other siblings would actually be...
These are my siblings.
That means, Kuti, you're quite a close-knitted family, like even with the extended and stuff.
Yeah, abanugotora ropa,
yeah.
like blood. But Saukara was in the Akura pa gogo. So Pampa ni Tantarango and Atiri Papu and Terence is like my twin. I don't know Manoa Maininong, but he's like a twin bossy. Tango Kuratungori, so close.
Yeah.
And kuna Tatenda, kuna Mekimbali, kuna Sandra.
That's quite close. Right. And how has it been growing up with such? Because normally, like you were saying, normally some families are just nuclear families. They just grow up like that. How has it been being an artist and then having such a big family, you're all close? How is the interaction changed, or they're just still the same?
No, it hasn't changed. It's actually more interesting now because, you know, that's my brother, that's my chichi. So what is whenever, even sometimes not to avoid that you have those conversations because even kind of go shower. I can't be talking about KaeChaps all the time now. But that's what she wants to talk about mostly. So she's always there. She talks about ukadoma ndikungandwa nevanhu achididi KaeChaps. And these are interesting conversations, but at some point I want to just talk normally. But when I'm not excitement, you of which there's like almost everyone in the family. Apana ba neta ma conversation akasaunza. KaeChaps factor. But it's fun at the end of the day. No one like you wrong with it. Okay.
And are they?
This is what we wanted.
Okay, I wouldn't say good. Are they? Okay. Are those two different people? KaeChaps na Kuda.
Very.
What's the difference?
The difference is Kuda is just a guy who wants to, you know, live a normal, peaceful life, and make money, and love Bambir. I really just want to be a loving person who's quiet, who's in his own corner. But then KaeChaps is now loud. KaeChaps is there. KaeChaps is a brand. KaeChaps is, you know, a noise in a way, and a secret.
Ooh.
So yeah, that's KaeChaps. That's why you find out with the KaeChaps is there to tell you, I'm feeling, you know, depressed. I'm feeling like, and I just got out of a heartbreak. You know, maybe Kudakwashi will not tell you about the heartbreak, but KaeChaps will tell you, you know, I hate you.
Type.
Yeah.
So, okay. Kuda being probably reserved. Would you say Kumba, they see you as reserved?
Yeah. Especially my mom. My mom knows Guti. Like I don't talk that much. I'm always in my little room. I'm always in my little space. And yeah. So trying to shamisika, especially here, I'm shamisika provides my songs. Really, how do you get the nerves to go up and be mic and sing when you can't even look at me so for more than 3 seconds? Because I'm that shy when I'm in that space. But when I turn into KaeChaps, I don't know what happens.
Wow, the studio takes over.
It takes over, and after is
Is it a matter of comfort?
Yeah.
See, now you're comfortable.
I'm comfortable. I find peace. I find joy when I'm doing what I do. So I'm confident about it. All sorts of things. I'm very much in that.
Has there been an
enjoyment space?
Has there been an instance where KaeChaps was just himself?
What do you mean exactly?
Like, share a story. You said you're the one who can say I hate you in front of your face. Has there been a time when Wazoshika Kumba?
No, I don't say I hate you in front of a mic.
Yeah. In front of also KaeChaps expresses in music.
Behind the mic, not in front. Behind the mic, I can say I hate you, but because KaeChaps expresses himself through music. Yeah. So KaeChaps says things that Kudakwashi is not able to say.
Okay.
Because inida kumbasa Kudakwashi ukuthi ndainzi tantakawanda, as I say. Vamwana egona kugara mdeni vachona TV. Nonziko kudarupi kudanenge ari kana bedroom. Ari ega, what is he doing? Nothing, is just sitting. And they used to say kuti maybe he's thinking about his father or what. They just didn't know kuti. I just enjoyed that space of being alone. I had so much to say, but I couldn't say it to them or anyone else. But I remember the only person I was honest with was my mom. So when she passed when I was 13. When I was 12. turning 13. So when she passed, I felt like I couldn't say anything to anyone. So I've had so many issues. I've battled so much on my own. I can't really express. So when the music came now, it's easy for me to just pen down whatever I'm feeling, and then I just lay it on my record.
All right. And mama, and then now we're learning that your mother passed on. So
oh yeah, that's my meaning.
Your meaning.
Mama, yeah.
All right. Okay. That's quite insightful. Knowing that there's Kuda, there's KaeChaps, and those are two different people, already two different personalities that are there. We are here with KaeChaps, who's sharing with us his life journey, his inspiration, and just thoughts about himself, things that we probably didn't even know about him, but we're getting to hear from him himself. So we are going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and talk to him even more.
With 2023 beckoning and the election frenzy in the country becoming more stronger each day, politicians are increasingly becoming visible, making more and more promises.
Primary education from grade 1 to grade 7 must be provided completely free.
Every village, in 3 years, there will be a ball in Ranane Sola.
patinongopinda chinhu chokutanga kukudzorerai pamakasiyiwa navamugabe. Toda kudzorera maticha kwavaiva kwokuti ticha aizikanwa semunhu aitenga zikoti zihedmaster nenyaya yokutanga neudzamu negiginiki.
But are these promises going to be fulfilled? The electorate is pondering on who to vote for in the council, parliamentary, and even presidential election. We bring you the candidate, where we interrogate their plans, their manifestos, their programs, to make sure that we give you information to make a choice on who to vote for. The candidate on SlyMedia TV every Wednesday from 6 p.m.
And we are back on the last segment with KaeChaps, who is sharing with us his inspirational story and just how it has been for him just as an ordinary person and as an artist as well. I think now we want to get into the industry itself. What can you say is something that young artists aren't doing right? Like people who want to get into the industry. What is something that you're saying, Kuti? If you just kind of fix this up, you can actually see the light in a way.
One thing I've always believed in, and one thing I always say is, there is no formula to this. It's art for a reason. So one thing that I feel like most artists are doing wrong is they are trying so much to do what they have seen being done and not try and experiment and do some things that have never been done before. So I think that's it's a good thing to learn, but at the end of the day, it's also an amazing thing to take zoning words and make it change and make it and help you become you, because there won't ever be another Wadza. There's always going to be you. The minute you try and depict what other people are doing and whatever, it doesn't make sense. So I feel like that's the biggest challenge in a artist. When Zim Dancer was there, and when he was dominant, everyone thought Kutuka Zim Dancer, you won't go anywhere, you won't make it. And we started seeing almost every young and upcoming artist trying to sound dancehall-ish so that they can make it. But then you are no longer yourself. You are killing you. And you realize with it, the minute I come with a slow song, it makes sense to people because I'm just being me. I'm not trying to make a hit record. I'm making music because I love music. I'm making a sound yandunofarira yandunoda something chekuti it heals me at the end of the day, it uplifts me before tatanga kutaura kuti zvonizvo isonyi ichazonakidza kana chazodii. So I feel like people are not being themselves and they are not doing music for the right reasons. It's either ungoda mbio, ungoda, you know, to blow up and whatever, but how is it exactly helping the inner you? Yeah.
So when it comes to music, it's not only, but it has to come from you and what do you want to do.
Yeah, no matter what you... Unogona imba song in club, empower, yakaipa, in no matter sense. Like, how many amapiano songs do we bump to? But yakatangari na amapiano yacho. I think it started with one person at some point who was just experimenting.
Yes.
But it was coming from within. He was like, I know, even I'm not doing my trends. I want to make a trend. Or maybe he made a trend. I think that was here subconsciously. I think I'm just expressing myself. So imagine if everybody had that capacity. I'm just trying to do me. How many trends will we have at the end of the day? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And you spoke about authenticity. Is there ever a challenge that arises when you're trying to be authentic and creative whilst in the industry, where you go with your idea and someone is just there like,
Yeah, because we are human at the end of the day. We are bound to fail at some point. But then, chakanakira authenticity, imagine, it satisfies you. If what you're doing is actually what you want to do, and if it's coming from within, it satisfies you. So it might be it might look like an L from afar, but kwawuri it's a win because is accomplish. And one thing I always emphasize on is trying has never hurt anyone. Trying has never killed anyone. You can't persecute anyone for trying. So we're not trying us on a it's fine. We try again, we move. So authenticity you don't stop because you say, okay, fine, maybe this didn't really work, but then you keep on moving.
All right.
Drive, yeah.
And are there any young artists, would you say you've worked with or are looking forward to working with?
Yeah, we have a stable. It's called Why Not Music. It's based in Rugare, and we have a whole bunch of talented young artists that we are going to be pushing. So right now we are actually working on an album. Aside from my album, there is an album where those young talented kids, and most of them work on different records, and we are just waiting for that right moment to strike. Yeah.
And you spoke about your community, Rugare. Usually people always kind of look back, kuti mu community mango, I want to do this. As artists, do you feel like artists are doing enough for the community, for their own communities?
Well, by enough, I don't really know. Kuti, is it enough? But personally, I know kuti. I think from what I've seen, from what I've also done, we are trying. Sometimes ndogona kutadza kunyatso sika pane zvekunyatsodowa nevanhu, but from zvanenchikwanisa pandenge nchikwanisa inini. I try personally.
Okay, but what have you done apart from a PS set for Rugare? What have you done as Kudakwasho or as KaeChaps, either way?
Okay, so as I was saying about the young talent, there are kids out there who we are trying to push, and also with PSZ actually, we are planning on doing on the 18th of April. It's my birthday, and we decided to do it Kurugare. So with PSZ, that means we are going to be educating, and we are also going to be, donating my sanitary pads to the young girls who are there. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really amazing stuff. And I think probably the last question, as media, what do you think can be done to bring up more young artists, young and upcoming artists? What do you think media can do? Media houses, even social media, or any people that have the platforms to do more for young people, young coming artists?
Okay, I see media as a very powerful tool, and most of these kids, they have a story to tell. They just don't have a platform. So platform because you are helping these kids come out. You are helping us tell our stories. Because no one was here, no one will tell that, speaker up. But if you come through with your numbers, each of you go up. And if another media house comes, it's just going to. So I feel like you play a very huge role in helping us tell our story, because the story is there to inspire. So yeah.
And any parting words to our listeners, our viewers, and everyone?
Okay. I really appreciate the support, and it's been a journey. It's been a journey. It still is a journey. But then, looking at where I came from and where I am, all I can say is I'm grateful, because as much as I might be the guy behind the mic, the guy about a pen and stuff, if no one is there to listen to what I'm saying, I'm not really that inspired. I don't want to see me it's all about me. But if I'm telling a story and no one is going to listen to it, it's not going to do a creative process. So I appreciate the attention, I appreciate the support, and I appreciate you for having me here.
It has been insightful, and it has been beautiful to hear your story and just learn more about you as an artist and just as Kudapashe. So thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to share the page, remember to subscribe to our YouTube page, and also like, repost, and make sure my likes are not Wanda. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.